Hello everyone. In this session, we will be actually covering short topics, but they are related to straight lines and very important ones also. So they all come under miscellaneous formulae about straight lines. First thing is angle between two lines. And I am taking those two lines to be obviously non-parallel ones. So picture would look something like this. One line has inclination theta 1, other line has inclination theta 2. An angle between them I am showing as theta. Then my attempt is how to get that tan theta or theta directly. And formula is if m1 and m2 are slopes of two given lines, then angle between them tan theta is given as an absolute value of m1 minus m2 upon 1 plus m1 m2. Why I am writing absolute value? Because if theta is considered to be acute one, then I will be writing absolute value. If theta is not acute, then without absolute value, you evaluate. If that comes out to be negative quantity, that means theta must be obtuse. That's the only difference. And also, when you see that m1 minus m2 upon 1 plus m1 m2, there are certain things which must have come to your mind. We have already seen this not as m1 m2, but we have seen this formula in trigonometry. Tan theta 1 minus tan theta 2 upon 1 plus tan theta 1 tan theta 2. That was tan of theta 1 minus theta 2 kind of thing. So realize this, that theta you can always write as theta 2 minus theta 1, at least in this given picture. If names were interchanged, then perhaps you would have got answer for theta 1 minus theta 2 as theta, and then tan theta as tan theta 1 minus theta 2. Had you simplified, you would have got same as m1 minus m2 upon 1 plus m1 m2. But I am taking care by writing their absolute value notation. Also, one more thing I want to say here, denominator is m1 m2 plus 1. Does that not remind you that why we had taken perpendicular lines condition as m1 m2 equal to minus 1? Even that gets satisfied here. Also, one more thing. What is that? Now, when two lines have same inclination, then obviously the angle between them would be 0, and then m1 minus m2 would be 0. It's one and the same. So all that what we have learned before can be verified here. That is what I wanted to say. Okay, let us move further from here. And next one is distance of a point from a line. Obviously that line's description I will have to start with, and somewhere I will have to show that point also, and the distance. Distance of point P x1 y1 from the line I am showing as small d, and foot of the perpendicular I have shown as q, only for reference, nothing else. Now I should be able to write finally the distance thing, and I'm straight away giving you formula, no need of getting into the explanation or derivation part. If ax plus by plus c equal to 0 is line's description, then absolute value of ax1 plus by1 plus c upon under root a square plus b square would give you the perpendicular distance. Mind you please, that absolute value actually works only for the numerator part. There is a possibility that you may get a negative sign, but denominator is non-negative only. So nothing to worry about the denominator part. Now, absolute value, why am I writing? Because distance generally is taken to be positive, so absolute value. So absolute value of ax1 plus by1 plus c upon under root a square plus b square would be the perpendicular distance, small d, as shown in the figure. Now from here only, we can derive one more thing. If that x1, y1, that point P is the origin itself, then what will happen? Obviously that ax1 plus by1 term would vanish, and answer would be simply absolute value of c upon under root a square plus b square. So this is about perpendicular distance of a point from the line. Now this is a very short thing, but you can always remember because formula is extremely important. Now move from here to next one, and it is conditions for the lines in different form. Now if a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0 and a2x plus b2y plus c2 equal to 0, if they have to be coincident, then what would be the condition? Condition is a1 upon a2 equal to b1 upon b2 equal to c1 upon c2. Why is it so? If those two lines are coincident, then if I write, for example, x plus y equal to 1, and if I write 2x plus 2y equal to 2, will it show two different lines in the picture? No, they would be actually the coincident lines. What we learned from this example? That one equation has to be multiple of other. And that is why we write here a1 upon a2 equal to b1 upon b2 equal to c1 upon c2 for coincident lines. Now move to the next, and next one is parallel lines. I'm writing parallel lines here as A1 upon A2 equal to B1 upon B2 and not equal to C1 upon C2. For the time being, don't take that not equal to C1 upon C2. Just concentrate on A1 upon A2 equal to B1 upon B2. You could have written that as A1 upon B1 equal to A2 upon B2. You can put negative signs also. And then interpretation is better. Minus A1 upon B1 is slope of first line. Minus A2 upon B2 would be slope of second line. And you are saying they are equal. Means what? You are talking about parallel lines. So it is not something which has come out of blue. You can always give explanation to it. That two lines are parallel if A1 upon A2 equal to B1 upon B2. And then I say not equal to C1 upon C2. When I write here parallel lines in such a way, that means two lines parallel and not intersecting one. If parallel lines and intersecting would have been the coincident case. Mind you, please, in your lower classes, I mean 5th, 6th, 7th, wherever you have learned geometry, their parallel lines have been described as non-intersecting one only. Please make their correction, and now here onwards, even coincident lines in context of coordinate geometry will show us that slopes are equal for coincident lines also. And parallel, since slopes are equal, so that means they are parallel. So, and parallel and coincident means they meet also. So, if two parallel lines meet at a point, then they meet at infinitely many points. You better make a better statement that two parallel lines meet not at all, or if they meet at infinitely many points. Such a statement would cover both the things, lines coincident and lines parallel. Let us move to the next one. Intersecting at a point. Two lines meet at a point, and for that A1 upon A2 not equal to B1 upon B2. Reason is very clear, their slopes will not be equal. When lines are intersecting at a point, their slopes must not be equal. That is why they intersect only at one point. I think this explanation is good enough. Move to the next, and the last one is perpendicular if A1, A2 plus B1, B2 equal to 0. This is actually repetition of M1, M2 equal to minus 1. M1 is your minus A1 upon B1. M2 is minus A2 upon B2. Substitute that. You will get A1, A2 plus B1, B2 equal to 0. And last thing which I would like to take here is point of intersection of two lines. Now, how do we find point of intersection? Actually, like in your previous classes, you have been solving two equations and you always get some solution. Maybe in some books, those who have learned properly, they will remember that two equations you have solved, unique solution, infinitely many solution, no solution, such cases you have learned. When you talk about unique solution, that is nothing but intersecting at one point. If you have seen infinitely many points, that is actually nothing but the coincident wala case. And the third one I said, do not meet at all. That is the parallel. That is the second case here, what I said. So understand that actually solving equation thing you have done in your lower classes. Geometrical interpretation you had never given. So geometrical interpretation is actually the point of intersection thing. So point of intersection of two lines you will always find by solving two equations. That is the geometrical interpretation. That if you have a solution for two equations, linear equations rather, I must say, then that means whatever solution you get, that describes nothing but that point of intersection. And actual calculation, if you go and work out a1x plus b1y plus c1 equal to 0 and a2x plus b2y plus c2 equal to 0, if you solve, then after solving, you will get one big expression for that point of intersection. Frankly speaking, I would never advise you to remember this as a formula. Those who are good at remembering things, I mean, they are free to do that. But crux of the matter is you need to solve those two equations to get point of intersection. And one more thing we will be taking in this session, that is intersection of two or more lines. Then what would be the picture? Picture would be of concurrent lines, means many lines passing through same point. Now, how do we say whether given set of lines is set of concurrent lines or not? I mean, that could be the question. How do we decide that? Then, first thing what you need to understand is point of intersection of two lines must satisfy equations of those two lines. And now, since it is a case of concurrent lines, so obviously the point of intersection will have to satisfy the third line also. So, for condition to be obtained for concurrency is nothing but that you find point of intersection of two lines, substitute in third equation. If that gets satisfied, then lines are concurrent. And if that does not satisfy, then lines are not concurrent. I mean, this is the simplest procedure to understand whether lines are concurrent or not. But if you want to do it formally, then I have written the condition in the determinant form. Now at this stage, if you are not aware of determinant thing, then you can just leave that part and understand only that you solve any two equations and put that solution in the third equation. If you get that third equation satisfied, then lines are concurrent. That would be enough explanation. Otherwise, you can remember this as the formal description. Determinant A1, B1, C1, A2, B2, C2, A3, B3, C3 equal to 0. That would be the condition for concurrent lines. Should we take one illustration to understand? Now we are given lines as 2x minus 3y equal to 7, 3x minus 4y equal to 13 and 8x minus 11y equal to 33, and we have to show they are concurrent. It is prove that question. It's easier rather. I mean, that does not mean that by hook or crook we'll do, but generally I am saying. How do we start? I try to solve two equations. First two equations, suppose. This is very standard thing what I have written here. This you have already done in your 7th or 8th standard. And I get from here x and y. X turns out to be 11, y turns out to be 5. And what I have to do? If this x equal to 11 and y equal to 5, which is point of intersection of first two lines, if that satisfies third, then that point is actually on the line. So does 11, 5 lie on the line? For that you will have to check. If that 11, 5 you substitute in the third equation, and if you are getting answer at 0, that means that point is on the line. And hence we understand that those three lines are nothing but the concurrent lines. And here I end my session. When we meet next time, again I will come with something new. Hope you enjoyed the session. If you have liked the video, please click to subscribe on this side. And if you want to place the order for the book, please click on this side. Thank you.